6 a.m. driving to work in Pennsylvania. Last day here. Yesterday, it was Thursday, we took the day off because it was raining. It was funny, yesterday it was like indistinguishable from Washington State weather in the winter. It was just sort of like raining all day. And I took the family, we sort of toured Philadelphia, saw a bunch of the historic stuff, and it was funny, there's just like nobody out. It was actually quite nice. It felt just like home. It was just just lightly raining all day and nobody was out, so no crowds or anything. But anyways, we took the day off, so that was kind of interesting. You know, they don't work in the rain. That's pretty nice. They can kind of get away with that here because it doesn't rain as often. Where I live, it rains basically all winter long, so not working in the rain isn't really an option for tree workers out there. It just, you can't. You'd starve if you didn't work in the rain. So, but out here, if they have a day where it rains all day long, they'll be like, you know what, let's just take the day off. So that's what we did yesterday. So it's Friday, headed into work. I'm not sure what's in store for us today, but it's my last day working here. And honestly, I am pretty happy about this weather because the other days it's been like 20 degrees and dry, and now it's in the 40s and raining. So it's actually warmer when it rains, so I think it's fixing up to be a good day. And yeah, they let me borrow one of their company cars, which is pretty nice. So I got my family staying at an Airbnb. We homeschool our kids, so we've been doing you know, homeschooling stuff about history and the American Revolution while we're here in Philadelphia. And this week's been really great. It's just been like going home at the end of the day every day. We got an Airbnb and we're just, you know, homeschooling the kids there. And yeah, it's just like coming home every day from work. It's been really a great trip. Okay, folks, we're out here at the job site. So this tree's coming down and that tree over there is coming down. It's actually raining pretty good. Pretty nasty out, but it's funny, they say they probably work in this kind of weather like 10 days a year or something. They say it really doesn't rain that much. The funny thing about tree work is it's tough in different ways. Like out here, the trees are trickier to remove because they're more sprawly. The wood is more dense. They're more technical. The trees are trickier here. But like the weather is really rough, you know, where I live. And the trees are generally like larger, taller and larger diameter, but the wood is softer. And yeah, everybody thinks they have the hardest job, but everybody's got different challenges for sure. But this is like totally normal weather for Washington. We work in this stuff all the time. And well, I don't work in it that much because now I'm self-employed. I don't work as much in it as I used to, but out here it's more rare. But check this chipper out. This is the coolest chipper I've ever seen. I think it's an 1890. Yeah, I think it's an 1890 XP. That's what Steve says. He thinks it is too. It's hard to tell with specific models. They're not very catchy names, so they're easy to forget. But I think it's the 1890 or maybe the 2190 or something. I don't know, but it's big. It's like it's a little bigger than the one that we had at Eastside, and it's got this really great grapple arm on it, and it also has a winch. If you want to see this thing really gobbling some wood, check out my last video that I made. And it's a really great chipper for crane work because you just put the piece down and it gobbles it up. We're not doing crane work today, we're just doing some bucket work, and there's nothing crazy about these trees. You know, I just wanted to show you this chipper because it's really awesome. I really like it. So you'll notice that this is also probably the I think it's the Brute model because it has the dual axle. And if you look at this thing, it's quite long, so that would be a con to it. It's basically as tall as the chip truck. So it's a gigantic machine. So not very easy to park this thing. It takes up a lot of room. I mean, even the shield widens it quite a bit. You can't really see through that. But so it's a big chipper, obviously, and I believe that it's 22 inches tall by 28 inches wide, the feed wheel. Got some nice stabilizers, and another nice thing is you can move the chute and that little flapper at the end, all with these controls. It's the best chipper I've ever seen. Got a hydraulic jack. It's got auto feed, and it works. Seems like more often than not the auto feed doesn't work on these. The auto feed works really well. At Shriner, all the chippers are really sharp as well. They take really good care of their blades. They've got full-time mechanics, and then when the knives get dull, they let the mechanics know. They just swap them out. They send them in to get sharpened. So this is a drum chipper. So there's a big wheel on the inside, and it has 4 blades that chop up the wood. Lee, the operator, is very, very skilled at it. He will take, so we're gonna chip all these pieces of wood, and you'll see he can actually grab them and like throw them into the chipper. It's really quite something. Yeah, this thing is an absolute beast. It's got a huge Perkins motor in it, which has horsepower, and it runs off diesel, which is a liquid. It also runs on, it's also got hydraulic fluid, which is another type of liquid, which is different than diesel. As you can see, I'm quite mechanically savvy. And yeah, let's chip some stuff up. What kind of tree is this?
Sugar maple.
Sugar maple?
Yeah. That's what they get sap from. Syrup.
That's what they get sap from?
The syrup.
Yeah. It's a nice face cut. It's a nice hinge wood.
Dude, look at all that.
That's nice. Yeah.
Real quick, all kidding aside, very serious electrical safety hazard. If anything happens, just 911. Not knowing how bad these trees are, we're just gonna take a small rig in. I'm gonna crash what I can crash, and then probably have to lower these tops and maybe chunk the wood. We'll see how it goes.
What do you want to chunk onto?
It's too wet, I think, for just to hit the grass.
Maybe just leave the
I think
top
maybe mats when we get there, or maybe maybe leave the top.
Yeah.
Kind of cradle it up. So Pat's gonna keep an eye on my boom. I'm just gonna go all the way up and over.
And so Lee, you said that you've got about 150 degrees side to side that you can swivel this thing?
Give or take, yeah.
And how far can you reach out?
About 10, 15 feet.
Okay.
So. Engaging the clutch, which will get the drum spinning. Chippers, they come in two varieties. They got drum style chippers and then disc style chippers, which the disc is more compact and the drums, they generally just do bigger, handle bigger wood. Most big chippers are not disc. Can you swivel this thing manually?
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. It's actually quite amazing how much control he has. Mike's going up, he's gonna chop this nasty sugar maple down. The power line company came and they like did clearance. They basically like cut half the tree out because it was over the wires. And so now they kind of like removed half of each of these trees. So I believe the customer has contracted Shriner to come remove the rest of them. They're all like decayed, and that one's real hollow like, and they're kind of nasty trees. There's so much variety of species out here. It's really wild. In Washington, we work on like 10 types of trees. Here it's like 100 types. Crazy how heavy that wood is for being dead.
Yeah.
It's super dense. Man. It's crazy that the wood here is literally like twice as heavy as where I live. It feels like. It's crazy. It's just like those cedars that you got, you know, they get like 10 times as big. I think it's just, this is like the weirdest shit branch ever. This is nice though, you just gotta get it close and then Lee takes care of it. Cattywampus-like and twisted. You just gotta get them close to the chipper, and then Lee takes care of the rest. He can just eat it. It's really awesome. Otherwise, you'd have to use up a whole bunch. But he can just
other guy is just like, they're like, screw the grass.
They just dropped a piece of wood right there.
This is really nice. We just got to get the brush in this general area, and then every once in a while Lee will just fire up the chipper and just gobble it all up. We don't have to like manually feed the chipper, which sounds kind of decadent, right? Oh, we just got to get it here. We don't have to get it, you know, 6 more feet like through the chipper, but it's actually saves quite a bit of energy.
I'm so naturally skilled at it. I figured I'd be good. My video, I'm gonna have to, or I'll show a shot of my face running the chipper, and then it'll like cut to Lee running, you know, running the arm. It's a big one. Okay, so we're gonna follow the trunk on this later, right? So. I'm gonna let Lee take a crack at these vines here. I think my favorite thing about working on this screw is these steps. So if you have to pee in the back of the truck, these are awesome. Every tip truck should have these on it. So awesome. Great, I got the bigger rope, the bigger wood.
This is like the worst weather conditions for chunking this wood down, because if you just let a piece drop, because it's so soggy, it sinks way into the ground like that. So when it's frozen, the logs bounce a little more on the ground. When it's really hot, the ground is dry, it bounces a little more. It's sort of the worst condition for this wood. So
that got my heart racing for a second. It's just a scrape of grass. We can fold the grass back over the top. It's actually fine. Very nice. So the rakers are too low on that saw, so I switched to my Screaming Eagle 261 just for the diagonal cut, because I just wanted something not so aggressive. But you know, I thought this would be a really nice saw for traveling because it's so small. It's only 50 cc's, like this is a small chainsaw, but it's just not powerful. This was an ambitious cut. It's sugar maple, it's rock hard, way bigger than my bar. Too much tree for this saw. It was the same when I was cutting that oak the other day. So the 261, I think it's kind of like barely professional grade. It's sort of the first saw that I would consider professional grade. It's good for, you know, limbing stuff on the ground, and it's actually nice for crane work and in the tree stuff, but this is just too much for it. That's not the saw I should travel with. I wish I had a more powerful saw with me. It's like, obviously you can cut stuff with it, but the saw just does not like that wood. It's just too dense, too big, too much. Too small of a saw. It's just too much. So, but I'm gonna use that saw again for the back cut. It's a longer bar, so it'll be easier to make an even back cut. It's just that diagonal part. I just wanted to use a different chain, but I'm not gonna do the back cut with my Screaming Eagle. It's too much tree for that little saw. Dude, sugar maple's hard. This is the first one I've ever worked on. They say about a 10% hinge. I'm much closer, slightly above, and just, this isn't 10%, it's probably more like 5%, because there's no weight up there. It's just a stubby little thing. So I'm right up to the cut. So a little more greedy with it, but it's also, the tree's like real stable because it's also so stout, you know? You guys keep holding it. I gotta talk a little. Guys, I got barely any wood. Just hold it there. That wood's really hard to cut,
Isn't it?
It's really hard to cut. But that nano chain was doing good up there?
Yeah.
So he's been running this for 3 days, all day, cutting really hard wood. And it's still cutting that well. Sharpened that 66, it wasn't cutting that great, and it might finish the stump for me. And man, I was like just doing some test cuts, and it's like better. It's cutting better than it was, but it's like, dude, this might be the hardest wood that I've ever cut. This sugar maple. I've cut quite a few varieties of maple. Eucalyptus is really hard. Hickory is really hard, but this sugar maple, it's like, I don't know if you can hear it in the videos or not. Probably can't, but when you're cutting through this thing, it almost, you like hear this sound, almost sounds like you're hitting nails, and you're not hitting nails. It's just this wood. It's really not very pleasurable to cut. Like, I just sharpened the saw even, and I was just cutting a little bit, and I was like, yeah, it's cutting, but it's just, it's not fun to cut. It's not fun to cut. Douglas fir is really fun to cut. Those are the best ones to cut, for sure. I don't really like this tree that much. I mean, this one's kind of nasty, all covered in ivy and stuff. Man, cutting it was really quite the task. I had to stop working on that stump. It's like the saw just wasn't doing it. I had to sharpen it, and even then it's like... But you know, it is a pleasure, is this chipper. This thing's incredible. I love this thing.
Man who did it. I'm the man responsible. So, Pat was giving Richie eyes. So this is recording. So Pat was giving Richie eyes, and he ran over your thing.
What thing?
The tripod.
Oh man.
Yeah. Oh man. It's right.
Oof.
I got you.
It happens.
I got you.
Yeah, it's all good.
I got you, dude.
It's all good, man.
It might be all right. He's got to pull up though. But this is fine. This is hooked up to it.
Yeah, that's good.
I documented it all, don't worry.
It'd be a sick shot. Wow, it looks like I'm getting run over. What a great shot.
So realistic.
Some sweet blower cam going. What a soupy day. All right, well that one's down. It's just everything's taking longer because of all the soupy yard and everything, and it's raining. We're not gonna do that one today. We just got cleaned up. We're gonna get headed back. So that's kind of big trees. The cleanup takes so much longer in the mucky rain like that. But anyways, wood's out of here. Trees down. Wires are still there. The job was a success.
Just got back to the yard. That was the last day of tree work. I might need to come back soon to run this thing. Haven't even ran this one either. They've got so much stuff here. Look at this beast. I've never used one of these before. This thing is massive. Man, that's cool.